Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Justice R.M. LODHA has already arrived, and I will request all the persons on the dais to kindly take their chair.
आते ही बोल लगे ना होती है।
There was a little communication gap, due to which in the next 5 minutes Attorney General Mr. Mukul Rohatgi will be joining us. He noted the time to be of a little later commencement, but given that there is a time constraint for our chief guest today, we will start the proceedings right away. Honorable Chief Justice Mr. Anil Divan, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, Mr. K. N. Bhat, Ms. Priya Ingorani, all other office bearers, all colleagues who have come from all over India, and the future of legal profession, the young students who are present here, not only in this hall, but down also, where we have a live feed of the proceedings being given. I welcome you all to the Rule of Law Convention 2014. We had launched this convention as an annual event in 2012. To inaugurate the first convention, we had invited late Justice Shri J.S. Verma, former Chief Justice of India, whose commanding moral voice and guidance we miss as a nation, and we still await that void to be filled. Justice Verma, after long ceasing to hold any public office, exemplified how the stature, dignity, and wisdom, and the capacity to command public trust and confidence that the office of the Chief Justice of India bestows upon an individual can be further exalted by lifetime of public service, rooted in the rigors of personal rectitude and courage of conviction. Presence of our chief guest today inspires hope that such void can be filled. The theme of present convention, next level reforms in the legal profession and justice system for a resurgent India, we may admit sounds a little dissonant when we look at the final program before you today. However, the convention sticks to the overarching theme of the rule of law. Independent judiciary, no doubt, is the cornerstone of the rule of law. In devising the final program, we have taken into account contemporaneous developments, passing of one constitution amendment bill and another bill to bring a fundamental change in the manner the appointments are made to the higher judiciary. Legal profession is one of the stakeholders in the system of justice administration in India. And thus it was very important for us to take this important development into account and refashion our program accordingly. Because, rightly or wrongly, the bills have created a great level of consternation in the legal community on how it is going to impact the independence of judiciary. The theme Resurgent India emerged due to the resounding manner in which the people of this country spoke through the ballot. The change which was brought by the people was born out of a sense of disgust and dissatisfaction and a perceived lack of governance and the rot of corruption. More than that, the shaping of the public opinion came about in large part due to the examination by an independent judiciary of various corruption scandals, which otherwise would have failed to get much traction in public mind and would have remained at the level of mere allegations being traded between the political rivals. It is the judicial scrutiny and these allegations, these scandals filtering through a process of independent judiciary that modified the public perception and brought in a massive change of regime. In this background, the kind of urgency and almost messianic zeal with which the new regime found that it is the judicial institution which perhaps in their view is the most dysfunctional of the institutions of governance, its ills are to be addressed first. And it became the first and foremost agenda of the government after assuming the power. And the result is the bills which have been passed by the parliament. We do appreciate here our constraints in terms of discussing this topic at length, and it is a part of our deliberations later on in the convention. But at the same time, I must admit that the kind of convergence of political opinion which emerged in this enterprise was remarkable, only preceded by such an action when the legislature came together to pass the bills relating to enhancement of their emoluments. Never in any other instance we have seen such a unanimity of view on the part of political class. But more than that, there is another dimension. That dimension is political executive is only a temporary executive. It's the permanent executive is the bureaucracy. And almost sentiments were whipped up to a crescendo through use of media by both politicians, bureaucracy, as well as the corporates, that the failure of country to progress, the lull in economic progress, the economic downturn is attributable to an interventionist judiciary. And that is perhaps the reason why the judiciary's reform had to come first. In this background, it is not hard to see that such a sentiment is a mere alibi. The hollowness of this is for us to see all. So the passing of these bills have raised many uncomfortable questions that are fraught with implications to the very notion of the rule of law, which is rooted in the independence of judiciary. And certainly, to my mind, this issue has served to take a lot of sheen off from the theme of resurgence and has pushed it somewhat, as far as our convention is concerned, to more existentialist concerns. Perhaps it is a symptom of our more permanent and static structure of governance, that is the bureaucracy, trying to externalize and project all the ills of non-performance, lack of governance, and economic downturn and policy paralysis on the judicial institutions by way of projection. Still, we cannot entirely discount hope and the potential that the future holds for this nation. Noam Chomsky, one of the foremost thinkers of our times, has said, and I quote, "Optimism is a strategy for making a better future, because unless you believe that the future can be better, it's unlikely you will step up and take responsibility for making it so. If you assume that there is no hope, you guarantee that there will be no hope. That is why we have to soldier on, and we have to make all efforts that it is not the fault of the Indian people who have given a resounding verdict expressing their sentiments that they want an India which is shining, which is progressing, to give them a suitably efficient justice administration system and a legal profession which serves the people's aspirations." Friends, this is the sentiment behind keeping the theme of the convention intact. I will again borrow from Noam Chomsky another quote to highlight the unique responsibility we all shoulder, being members of the legal profession, to uphold and promote the rule of law. The main objective of the Bar Association of India, the organization which is hosting this convention. Noam Chomsky said, "Responsibility, I believe, accrues through privilege. People like you and me have unbelievable amount of privilege,
And therefore, we have a huge amount of responsibility. To conclude, and while still talking of Resurgence India, I just wish that we as a nation for once prove one of the famous thinkers and authors, Franz Kafka, wrong, who said, and I quote, "Every revolution evaporates and leaves behind only a slime of a new bureaucracy." People of India deserve much more than that.